Okay, that is hard to beat. How are you?
Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be covering something interesting. We're going to be searching the U.S. American South for the cheapest Airbnbs we can find. Now, the criteria that we're going to be using are we are looking for an entire apartment, so we're not going to be looking for a shared room. And we're going to be looking for in the U.S. South, so, basically anything south of maybe like the Tennessee, Kentucky kind of border, as a general line, so pretty much like the southern half of the country. So stick with us, and we'll see if we can find some things that are cheaper than getting a lease. So, in general, this kind of came to me. Recently, I was looking for some Airbnbs and was able to be flexible in where I lived. And, it's pretty crazy because, looking in Texas, for example, in large cities, say like Houston, if you're looking to get an entire place for yourself, it was, last I looked, maybe about $2,000 was the cheapest option. And, then leasing a place, you could get a place for maybe $1,100 or something like that. So, really quite expensive, almost double to get an Airbnb the cost of a lease. But it's been pretty crazy because if you go down into the south and west of Texas, you can start getting Airbnbs that are cheaper than leasing an apartment. So that is what we cover today. Let's see if we can find the cheapest possible Airbnbs, except for maybe not a tent. We'll rule that out. So let's get started.
Let's dive into this here. Let's see what we can find. So again, to review our criteria for the search today is we're going to be looking for an Airbnb. So let's go ahead and we'll set dates as an example. We'll do it for 4 weeks. And maybe we'll go out just a little bit to see if we can find something that, typically, obviously, you book things a little bit further on an Airbnb, it can be cheaper versus 1 or 2 weeks. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, let's see if we can do October to November. And yeah, we'll just do one person, not that it really matters. And for starters, can use McAllen, Texas. So that's a good one. So we've got our search going here. And filter, again, one of the criteria we're going to have it be an entire home. So we'll add that filter. And yeah, so basically, again, to review the search, we're looking for anything pretty much south of kind of like the Kentucky, Tennessee line. So I don't know, maybe it is even we're looking almost at the bottom third of the United States, something like that. So yeah, we're basically looking for anything that's kind of good price. Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, the deep south, southern California, but I think we know that it's probably not even worth searching there. So, all right, to kind of go over some of the criteria we got here, and to kind of go over the general strategy of searching. So, generally, obviously, we're not going to be able to look at major U.S. cities in the South. If we were to... So, again, looking at McAllen, we can see here, basically... So, let's fire McAllen in, if you guys don't know where that is, into Google Maps here. There's the public library. But yeah, basically, McAllen is a city on the border of Texas and Mexico. So you can see it's basically right here. And the McAllen metro area is quite big. It kind of extends basically from South Padre Island, which is a decent amount of people know this is a tourist destination. It's an island that has a very long island that has a bunch of beaches and beach resorts and things like that to do. It's pretty cool. I mean, honestly, it's not as nice. It's definitely not, in my opinion, close to as nice as some of the Florida beaches, but it's still pretty nice, and it's a decent price. It's not super expensive, so you know, it's legit for sure. But yeah, so like when I was recently searching, McAllen is one of the cheaper cities because, you can see here looking at for like a full Airbnb, this would be like a trailer park, but it is still a full unit to yourself, full one bed. And even this, it's like 1,400 total for looks like you get 2 beds. And so again, this is in McAllen, and McAllen is kind of the center of this McAllen metro area, which is quite huge. It kind of again extends all the way from McAllen an hour and a half to the east to South Padre Island. So if we are in the McAllen metro and then we go out a little bit, let's say we go to Mission, Texas. Let's see what we can get out there. So similar dates. This is all we got. Mission. Submission about 1,200 as well. Let's see if we change the dates to like the 6th. See if that makes a difference. Yeah, so again, we're pretty much looking at, I think the cheapest. Here we go, $1,085 for 28-day stay at an apartment in Mission. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Yeah, so it looks decent. You get a place. You get your own entrance. You get the bathroom and bed, whatever, and then you don't have much of a kitchen though. You only have like a microwave. You don't have a stove or anything like that. I don't even know, like a mini fridge maybe in here. So yeah, it's that's maybe not optimal. So we got, this looks pretty good. So again, it's looking like the cheapest you can find in Mission is like $1,200 for the month. Yeah, that. So we're looking, this place looks pretty legit. Wow, this is 3, oh no, this is 1 bed, 1 bath. So what is this? So living room, damn dining area, looks like you pretty much get a full kitchen with a stove, a full refrigerator. Bedroom, full bathroom. Yeah, so that's pretty legit. So it's like, if you're in Mission, Texas, again, 1209. I guess what's the total? If we would look at with taxes, it'd be 1272. It'd be total for a 28-day rental on Airbnb, which is pretty good. I mean, still considering if you consider the cost of a lease with utilities, you know, it's not bad. And we got that other one that's cheaper. That's like 1,085, but definitely doesn't really have like a full kitchen, which that's kind of nice. So you can save money on food, and then yeah, you definitely have like these trailer parks. Yeah, again, it's looking like 1,200 range is kind of the cheapest that you can get a place for a month. Yeah, that's definitely looking like we should be applying. There we go. Let's see the absolute cheapest options here. So, yeah, that place is pretty impressive though. Pretty nice apartment for 1,500. Okay, yeah, here's a legit scenario. So, $11.91. So for a total cost with fees of $11.91, you can get this place. And yeah, so it looks like you got a stove in there, you know, refrigerator, microwave. So you can do quite a bit of cooking. And then you just got the other standard stuff. Bed, a little table you can work on. Not bad. Yeah, so again, for like 4 weeks, you're looking at, let's see what it is with tax, $11.91 per month. That's pretty good. Now, let's contrast that. If we were to look at, let's look at Houston, Texas, and see like if we're looking in a suburb of Houston, how much is this going to cost? There's really no option for this. Yeah, so this is the difference. If you are able to choose your location, you know, if you're somebody who's working remotely, I know there's not as many of those folks as there was, you know, 2 years ago, but it's like if you're somebody who's working remotely, you know, maybe you have a hybrid setup or something. Oh, this is pretty legit here, it looks like. But again, you're really looking at like 2,000. So it's like to get, yeah, really like any, seems like the cheapest realistic rental you're gonna find in Houston. I mean, I don't know, I guess you could go look at downtown Houston, but yeah, it's quite expensive. You know, again, I think you're gonna need at least $2,200 a month, something like that. Yeah, I mean, I'm not seeing anything that is, this place looks okay. Place looks pretty good. So it will be the net, still 1830, so yeah, you're looking at almost like 50% more. Let's take a look at this place. That's pretty good though. You get like a full kitchen and desk. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And obviously it has good reviews as well. Can we see the location though? That'd be, let's check out. You know, obviously that's the other thing you got to keep in mind with Airbnbs is kind of like safety. But I think this is a pretty decent area in Houston. Yeah, I think it's pretty good. I think, yeah. So I guess in Houston, if you're willing to kind of, you know, look at different parts of the city, maybe you can get a place realistically for, you know, 1,800, which is all right. Definitely, yeah, like definitely though. Yeah, it's really hard to find. Really difficult to find, like. Yeah, it's like, because you can even see the per night fee. Like in McAllen, we're able to get 35 per night, and there's like basically no listings on the histogram for that. So I mean, it really looks like you're gonna need to almost double that. I mean, it looks like there's a couple good values hidden around, but you know, maybe for 1,600 and then 1,800 total. But yeah, it's definitely like, okay, this one looks alright. This is new, so it might be nice. You know, I can say from my experience using Airbnb, obviously it's always nice to see reviews, right? I think everybody today is kind of looking for that. But that being said, I will say when I first came to McAllen, I took a risk and rented a place that was new. It had no reviews at the time. I think it was a new listing, and that worked out really well because it was fantastic. It was just like a really beautiful townhouse, and the total was like 1,200 for the month. It was like a 2-bed townhouse, really nicely decorated. It was in a nice area. Yeah, so sometimes you actually, I mean, obviously you can get scammed, I think, you know, but you know, sometimes you can get a pretty good deal with, you know, taking something that's new and hoping it works out. So yeah, it looks like, I don't know if you get a full kitchen. This one, let's see. I don't know if I see a stove. Yeah, what area is this? This is Montrose. Yeah, I mean, this one doesn't look like it has a stove. And then you're looking at kind of West Houston. Yeah, I don't really know much. I guess it's a decent area. But yeah, a little risky, I guess, because it's new, doesn't have a full kitchen. But yeah, in general, I mean, looking for Airbnbs in bigger cities, I mean, yeah, you're looking at 50% more, and you know, maybe more than that, because then it's like after fees you could be looking at 50% to 75% more in like a small place like McAllen. Yeah, because it's like there's very few low cost Airbnbs. And generally, I mean, they're only in certain areas of the city, it looks like. So this one looks pretty decent. Yeah, it looks like you get, again, not a full kitchen. So yeah, that's definitely a challenge. Like if you're looking for a full kitchen in Houston, I mean, it looks like you're going to be looking at probably 1,800 total at bare minimum. And even that is kind of dicey to do because there's only so many of those cheap rentals in Houston, and then you may have to drive quite a ways across the city, and or that particular unit you're looking for is like rented out, and then you have to pay $400 more a month. So definitely some of the challenges of looking at a bigger city. All right, let's continue our search. So the overall like approach I used when I was looking to do this is trying to figure out like some of the cheapest places to live in the South. So first of all, trying to filter out some of the cities. I mean, in general, I think Florida is quite expensive throughout almost the whole state. I think just because there's like so many people that are, of course, moving there. I mean, they have, if you can handle the hot, humid weather, it's like pretty decent weather year round. It's quite sunny. Obviously, there's things to do in Florida. It's a pretty decent place to live, right? Obviously, some people give it a bad rap, but whatever. Overall, it's pretty nice. And, but yeah, like, I don't even think it's worth looking in Miami. I mean, of course, it's going to be quite difficult to find anything in Miami. And then even, I think, in, like, cities like Tampa, Orlando, some of those smaller cities are going to be quite difficult to. All right, let's see. Yeah, these are same criteria. Let's see what we. Out of curiosity, what do we get? Oh, this looks pretty legit. Yeah, I mean, Miami's definitely even more, but you really can get some decent Airbnbs though, because I think even a lease in Miami it can be pretty expensive, and like there are some times where you can get an Airbnb that's like the same price or cheaper than a lease, which is pretty. So this is new, so again, a little bit of risk potentially taking this on, but let's check it out anyways. So it's pretty decent. I don't know, is that like a futon, couch? Alright. We got a bed. Alright. You got a kitchen, little table there. That's cool. Yeah, in the kitchen. Okay, yeah, looks like you get an oven in the kitchen, which is nice. Always nice to be able to, cook. Maybe save some money. Eating out can be pricey. Alright, yeah. It's looking pretty good for Miami, but first of all, it could be, you never know if it's legit because it's a new listing, but even so, 2,000, right? So pretty expensive. Wow, yeah, I mean, Miami, of course. What do we expect, right? But yeah, the minimum is 29, and like how many are there for that price? Let's try to see like the 16 super cheapest places in Miami. So like RV, Fort Lauderdale. That's interesting. Let's check this out. All right, so yeah, good bedroom. Then it's such a tiny little kitchen. You're gonna have to spend a bunch of money then going out to eat. Potentially, I mean, unless you can just like live off kind of snack stuff. Yeah, so yeah, it's pretty hard. Looks like tiny home. Let's check out the tiny home. See how small this thing is. Yeah, it looks pretty small though, and you don't have a kitchen. Yeah, all these other ones are, yeah. So obviously Miami, super expensive. let's check out Tampa. But in general, like if I'm looking for cheapest place in the South in the U.S., I wouldn't even be looking in Florida probably at all. Obviously, the best bet would be looking in like maybe Jacksonville, some places maybe in the Panhandle, but I think even those are getting kind of expensive. Yeah, of course. So Tampa's definitely cheaper. Let's see. This actually looks pretty legit. You got a huge kitchen. I like this super old refrigerator. That looks pretty cool. Very retro. Yeah, not bad though. Not bad. I mean, yeah, you get like a sectional table, big kitchen, bedroom. That looks pretty sweet. Looks pretty legit. Continue to. That's not bad. That's not bad. 1545. That seems pretty decent. You know, if you're take a look at the reviews, yeah, it looks like people are liking it. That's what's up. The only complaint is that he can't smoke outside. So, yeah, it looks legit. Yeah, I mean, again, more than a small city in Texas, but hey, you know, Tampa's pretty cool, and it looks like a reasonable price for staying in Tampa. Let's check out Orlando. Why not? Let's see what's going on in Orlando. So what was the cheapest possible option looking like in Orlando here? This is like kind of a hotel room, it looks like. I don't know that. Some of these guest suites. Let's check it out. Yeah, sometimes these, you know, if you're on Airbnb, these like guest suites, sometimes they can be a legit option. I will say, cheapest Airbnb I've ever rented. It's pretty insane. Well, is in Mission, Texas. I did a monthly rental for total with fees like $820 some, which is pretty crazy because like it's hard to even find that price in like a third world country. So obviously you can, you know, there's definitely places where you can find very cheap rent and, you know, short-term leases locally and hotels, etc. But either way, I mean, that's a pretty good price these days. And that place was pretty, I mean, it was one of these guest houses where I think what people do with the guest houses looks like is they convert a spare room in their house or some spare space they're not using into a unit, and then they create a private entrance. And some of the challenges with these guest houses, I would say, is a lot of the times they don't have a full kitchen, which, you know, I think you can definitely save a lot of money if you have a full kitchen, because obviously you can cook and then you can eat your own meals. It saves, you know, eating out can be expensive. But yeah, if you can find a guest house, a guest suite or guest house, whatever they call it, that has like a stove or something, then that can be in like a full kitchen, or even like semi-full kitchen with a stove. That can be pretty legit because they can be quite a good price. So yeah, I mean, that Airbnb was crazy, like $828, because that's, I mean, it's like cheaper than, I think, it's hard for me to even find a long-term lease that would be that cheap, especially like when you consider utilities and things like that. So that was pretty crazy. But all right, anyways, back to Orlando. Let's check this out here. Let's check out this guest suite. So yeah, looks like you got that super red refrigerator. I don't know what the deal is with that thing. But yeah, you don't have a full kitchen here though. It's kind of, it's not Yeah, so kind of as expected, Orlando's cheaper. All right, Orlando looks even a little bit cheaper than Tampa, probably as expected because it's maybe more inland. So again, probably that being closer to the ocean commands a little bit of a premium to real estate. Yeah, I don't know. All right, let's try to see if we can find like the cheapest in Florida. So I would assume that would be in Jacksonville. Basically, any of the less well-known, kind of less famous, cheaper cities further north. So Jacksonville, in case you're not familiar with, north of Florida. Maybe in the Panhandle, although I think a lot of that real estate is probably going up quite a bit in price. I used to live in Atlanta, that metro area, and I know a lot of folks in Atlanta would buy vacation houses in the Panhandle, and it was pretty crazy. At least I would say I'm kind of thinking of like 2018, 2019, but it was pretty crazy. You could get really good value houses pretty close to the ocean. But I do think a lot of those have probably went up in price recently. Anyways, all right, let's take a look at Jacksonville. Let's see what we can get. Let's check it out. This looks pretty cool. Let's check this out. See what's going on. And you got a private pool. Oh man. Okay. I don't see any pictures of the interior though. What is this? You stay outside? Let me let's try to figure this out. The expensive fees that come on leasing. I just don't understand this listing because are you just staying outside? I don't see any pictures of the interior. So, alright, I don't know what is happening with this, but it looks cool. The pool looks pretty sweet. Alright. Let's see here. That looks pretty cool. We get like something on an island. Let's check this out. This is a guest favorite. The Airbnb awards. Looks very cute. Very nicely decorated. I would say the only thing is, doesn't look like there's a stove from what I can see. Yeah, so you got a kitchen, but it's like, do you even have a microwave? It's just a refrigerator? Yeah, so I don't know. That'd be a challenge, though, I think, with this one. If you were gonna do some cooking. Yeah, this still looks pretty cool. Just kind of cabins. Yeah, really hard to get a... Wow, even in Jacksonville, yeah, it is just really difficult. Yeah, that's the thing. That's why I was saying Florida is just so hard. It's like, even in the cheaper cities, I think, because just so many people from all over the U.S. are probably, moved there since 2018 or, retiring there. It really drives a lot of the pricing up. And then also, yeah, I suppose they have, it's just really hard to find a decent value in Florida. But we'll check the Panhandle real quick. But yeah, and then also, I guess the two, they have the hurricane. That causes insurance rates to be quite expensive, so that also probably drives up some of the cost. Let's try Tallahassee, but I think that's still pretty pricey if I remember correctly. We'll check it out anyways. Yeah, just too expensive. It's too expensive. It's crazy how expensive the Panhandle is, because I feel like you used to be able to get real estate there for a pretty good price. Again, yeah, it looks like really you'd be needing to spend, double, triple McAllen rates. Yeah, it's just really difficult, I think, to Biloxi, or no, Mobile, sorry. I don't know if we want to go to like Panama City Beach. Oh, Pensacola, alright, let's try that, and then that'd be our last one. I think we're looking at in Florida. Let's check this bad boy out. See what we get. So, yeah, still pretty pricey. Yeah, I mean, again, it's like we're only getting RV rental places realistically. Wow, yeah, it's just super, definitely not cheap. So yeah, really looks challenging. All right, so that's Florida, really difficult. Looks like you can find some okay values in some of the lower tier cities. Maybe like Tampa would be one of the best values, it looks like. But yeah, definitely not going to be able to get kind of like super low tier cost. But all right, let's check out Mobile while we're at it. I think that's probably still pretty pricey because again, it's kind of right on the ocean and everything and pretty desirable area, but let's see what we can find here nonetheless. New apartment. All right, this looks interesting. Let's check this out. It's a little bit more expensive. Oh yeah, dang, this is like old school. This is pretty. Looks kind of cool though. It looks like definitely gives me that feeling of like my grandparents' house, great grandparents' house when I was growing up. Yeah, it looks cool. Very well taken care of. It looks like. I'll give them that. Wow, the wood is kind of beautiful. So it looks like they might have a hot plate there. Okay, that might work. That might work. Although, definitely it'd be nice to probably have a full, like a burner. Might get a little hotter than a hot plate, but it's cool. But it's still looking like it's just way too this area. It's just like, again, I mean, really to find a place. It's just crazy, yeah. Wow. Yeah, it's just like super expensive as well. What's crazy is this area is like almost, I mean, I guess some of these look pretty nice because maybe for $2,000 you could get like a condo that's pretty close to the beach. Let's check this out. Historic Mobile, Alabama. That looks cute. Looks really nice. Oh, it's beautiful. Wow, that is gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Wow, that looks cool. That looks very, very beautiful. Yeah, of course, I mean, that's not cheap. It'd be like 24. So yeah, even, it's crazy. It's almost like you could get a cheaper price in Tampa. Yeah, these are not cheap. Mobile. So yeah, really, even this, and I feel like there's no way Louisiana, this area is probably going to be quite expensive, Baton Rouge, but yeah, I guess we should not be looking on the coast. It's generally just too pricey. We'll check it out nonetheless. Yeah, it's too much. Alright, so I think we did enough looking at places kind of along the coast or in the, I believe it's, I should know this, Gulf of Mexico. Let's try to start really doing some serious work here. So, one option when you're looking for cheaper places, I think in general, Georgia actually, bizarrely, is pretty expensive. The real estate, some of the real estate in Georgia, you know, maybe people wouldn't think that, but let's let's check out Augusta, Georgia, and let's see what things are looking like over there. I don't think this is one I looked at in the past, but let's check it out. Let's see if there's anything. Yeah, really hard to get that. Really hard to get that like super low tier pricing. Let's try. Yeah, it's just hard to get that to that level of Texas. And this one doesn't have the best reviews. Yeah, it's really hard to get to like that price point of low real estate of Texas. It's like, yeah, these are like 2,000 even in Augusta, which is like. All right, let's try Columbia, South Carolina. Again, more inland. I mean, assuming that basically anything, we're looking at like Charleston. I mean, of course, Myrtle Beach, right? I mean, those I would assume are not cheap. We'll check it out. Let's try going to Columbia. Let's see what we can find. Not Columbia. The country. Okay, let's check it out. Dang. Wow. I'm surprised. Wow. This is not cheap. This is not cheap. Wow. You know what's crazy? It makes me think, like, as I'm doing this video and thinking here, it makes me wonder, like, I don't know, maybe it is a good business. Again, I don't know. I'm not going to go buy real estate and all this stuff, but it seems like it might be a decent business because it's like, I think the real estate in Columbia is pretty cheap. And looking at these listings, I mean, maybe there's just not a demand for Airbnbs in Columbia, but, man, it seems like there could be some spread because it seems like real estate is quite cheap. I mean, not vastly more expensive than McAllen, but all these places are like double, triple the price of McAllen. So I don't know, maybe that's a good business, but I don't know if there's a market. You gotta do way more research. It's not financial advice. Just thinking. But anyways, so yeah, I am surprised. I have to say I'm very surprised that Columbia, being kind of just this inland city in the south, it's so expensive to get an Airbnb. That's really wild. Like, dang, 3,000? And this is a guest house? Like, what is this? Alright, I gotta check this. I am, like, curious about this now. Dude, this is an insane. I guess this is in a nice neighborhood, but still, this is like Columbia, South Carolina. We're not talking about Los Angeles or something here, you know. Dude, this is crazy. Wow, this is nuts. So this is a garage apartment in Columbia, and this is like 3,000 a month. This is crazy. Wow. Yeah, that might be a good business, because wow. Yeah, maybe you should start Airbnb in Columbia, South Carolina. Alright, anyways, so that's definitely not going to meet our criteria for cheap Airbnbs. That was surprising to me. Alright, let's just check out Charleston. Let's see what's going on over there. Again, assuming it's not going to be cheap, but hey, for kicks, let's check it out. How about that? Yeah, let's see. Okay, yeah, so quite pricey. Huh. I gotta say, though, I'm surprised. It's not vastly more expensive than Columbia, it looks like. Wow. That is really wild how pricey it is. It's like you could get a place in Miami for a much better price. Better, like, maybe not much better, but it seems like you could get a place in Miami for cheaper than this. It's really wild how pricey it is. Dang. It's surprising. So, alright, for kicks, let's check out Myrtle Beach. Assuming not much cheaper. It just makes me think this might be a decent business, because I mean, if they're able to charge these places and people are these prices and people are reviewing, like, man. But again, I'm not a businessman, so I don't know, but just speculating. All right, let's check out. Dang, this is pretty cool though. Definitely not meeting our budget, 3,000, but dang, this is pretty slick. I think I'd rather have this than the guest house in Colombia. I don't know about you, but wow, yeah, that's pretty beautiful. Oh, that is really nice. Gorgeous. Oh, that is pretty awesome. Yeah, you can view the ocean. Wow, nice. So yeah, that's a cool area, but too pricey. That's the interesting thing. I've kind of found when I was looking at this stuff. Let's just look at like Greensboro, some small town in North Carolina. What I would always think is I would think places in the Deep South, real estate would be cheaper because you generally think of it as being a less expensive area, but it's surprising that the Airbnbs are so much in the Deep South. This is not cheap. Like, seems hard to find a place. And all right, let's try like Montgomery, Alabama. Otherwise, then we're going to be abandoning this search and going where I know it is actually cheap. It just seems really difficult to find a cheap Airbnb in, like, basically east of Texas in the south. It's just too much. Yeah, it's pretty surprising. Yeah, it's just crazy how much this is. It's like it's almost cheaper to go to like Tampa, Florida than it is in renting in some like inland city around here. So, alright. Enough of that. Let's actually start looking at some places that I know are actually a good value. So, Tulsa. Alright, let's try Tulsa in Oklahoma. It's like a smaller city in Oklahoma. I think they have some manufacturing located there. But Oklahoma, I think, is generally pretty inexpensive. Let's see what we can find. Wow. Still, though. This looks difficult. It looks quite hard to... Huh. Still looks like quite a bit more than Texas. Yeah, that is too much. Alright, we'll deep dive more into Texas here. So far we have not found anything that's been able to beat the $11.91 price of Mission, Texas, which is just west of McAllen. Now, how about let's try Laredo. Let's see what's going on. I feel like Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, we might be able to find some. So yeah, basically, if you're looking for a cheap place in the south, you're probably going to have to looking at Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, but we'll see. We'll verify that. So, yeah, you can tell here. this is just... Yeah, so it looks pretty nice. Yeah, so Laredo looks like it's a little bit more even than McAllen. Doesn't look like we're going to be able to find a place. Although, is this in Mexico? Yeah, I think that might be in Mexico. So you can already see by the pricing, Laredo is significantly cheaper than other places like in the Florida, any place, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina. Yeah. So it still looks like McAllen. Let's try some of these other. Let's try El Paso. I think that place is a pretty good deal. Let's see what we can find in El Paso. Dude, alright, this is what I'm talking about here. Alright, here we're starting to find some, this is what I'm talking about. Yes. Yes. Alright, this is what I'm talking about. So we get a nice big table to work on. Looks like you get a stove, so you can crank the heat up and cook some stuff there. I got a bed, it's like a studio, but... nice bathroom. Oh man. Oh wow. And then there's a laundry area. That's pretty cool. That is okay. That's nice. Everywhere is in a spacious and serene place. And it has great reviews. Wow. Pots or pans would host a living room. Looks like people really enjoyed their stay here, which is fantastic. So let's see, what's the price with fees? Because those can dang. All right, so $1,025 for 4 weeks, and then we're talking Sonora, Texas. All right, zoom in on that so we know what we're talking about. Let's see if we can look at the map though here. Oh, Socorro. Looking at the wrong place. So, yeah, wow, this is pretty awesome. So, again, it is pretty crazy. If you go down to the border, Texas and Mexico, you can find some crazy cheap places. $1,000, I mean, I think a lot of people in the U.S. would probably be happy with that for rent, and I mean, this place looks pretty decent. Yeah, you get a nice big table, full kitchen, looks pretty slick. Good reviews, good host, looks nice. So, yeah, it does look like this region, kind of this border region in the U.S. with Mexico is quite cheap. And, you know, the things that I've found, too, are... So I've been living down here. Wow, another one that's quite cheap. So, yeah, El Paso really... looks like they have some good deals. Some really good deals for sure. Yeah, that looks pretty slick. Wow, they really got some good deals there. A lot of places. But then, yeah, you got to make sure. I mean, unless you're looking to stay in Juarez, but we're just covering the U.S. today. So, yeah, there's several places that you can get. $35 a night, $33 a night. All these are in Juarez. But yeah, so there we go. That's definitely the way to get cheap places. And I've been staying here in the border, and maybe some people would be concerned with safety and security, but I do feel like McAllen is pretty safe. To me, it feels quite safe. I can, I'll go for walks outside and things like that, and I don't have concern about my safety or security. I feel like it's safe, just like being in a U.S. city. I don't know, like a small town in Wisconsin or something like that. So, obviously, if you get closer to the border, there can be some danger. I'm not saying it's without danger, but if you're inland a little bit, just a couple miles, I mean, it's generally pretty safe because there's a lot of law enforcement, and yeah, it feels good. It's good. So, all right, I think that's pretty slick. That's a pretty good price. Let's take a look at New Mexico. There's like some place. I don't even know this. Let's see if we can search. Hold on. So let's search. Oh, what is going on? Oh, that's what's up. Largest metros in New Mexico. Because, you could live in a super small place, but obviously it might be logistically a little difficult if you're in like an extremely small. Farmington? I don't know where that is. Oh yeah, Santa Fe. Okay. Yeah, so it looks like they're all in the north. Las Cruces. Serious places. Alright. Oh wow, that looks really beautiful. Huh. Dang, that looks really good. That was cool. Alright, so hey, why not? Let's try Las Cruces. Let's see what's going on down here. Zero Airbnbs. So this is actually more expensive. Oh, surprising. So New Mexico is actually quite a bit more. Let's try Santa Fe than like Texas border cities. Seems like quite a bit more to get an Airbnb. Yeah, just too expensive. Alright, well, looks like New Mexico's pretty pricey. So let's move to Arizona and California. I don't think California is even worth looking at. Okay, so let's try Tucson. I would assume, again, Phoenix being a pretty large city, probably be just too expensive. It's our price range, but Tucson might be okay. Let's check it out. Let's see what we can find. Tucson. And again, let's try to chop this off here. Oof. Yeah, Tucson actually. Yeah, still looks quite a bit more. 1,486. It looks decent, but again, that's wow, yeah. Unfortunately, it's gonna be like $16.35 per month. So, yeah. right. Well, so obviously we didn't cover every place in the South. Let's just run a search, just for curiosity's sake. Although, oh shoot, we're gonna get all these places in Mexico though if we try to run a map search, so that might not work. Maybe we can, yeah, it's pretty difficult to run a map search. This is crazy. Economy hotel. This is nuts. Right. Wow. So you do not get a kitchen, I think, with this. But wow, for $500 a month. Oh, and it looks like you get a microwave and a fridge though, which is okay. Huh? Yeah, wow, this is nuts. So, even though you don't get a kitchen, wow, wish I would have seen this before. Okay, that is hard to beat. How are you? Even though it doesn't have a full kitchen, oh man, you know, you could even like buy a hot plate and plug it in. That is nuts. All right, I don't know if we're gonna be able to beat that. $526 total. That is crazy. Where is this? That is absolutely nuts. I don't know this area. Oh, it's like north of Houston. Okay. Okay, a little bit like northeast of Houston. Wow. People like this. It's got good reviews. Wow, this is crazy. Livingston, Texas. Let's just zoom in on that. Wow, Las Cruces really looks beautiful though. Livingston, Texas. This is crazy. What's crazy is actually this doesn't look like it's super far from Houston. Like, say you're trying to go to the Woodlands, which is a far northern suburb. Oh, it's only an hour away. Oh. In fact, you could probably get what is this? Oh, I can't even read that. New Caney. Let's check this out. So that's pretty crazy because basically you can kind of get into the Houston metro area. Man, 40 minutes. That is crazy. That is nuts. Alright. God, I have to say that blows my mind. Livingston. Wiggins, Mississippi. Let's check this out. Damn. Okay, but that's still $7. Although we shouldn't be thinking that's a bad price in context of how much. Wow. Okay, so you get a full kitchen with this. It's pretty legit. 712, 768. Okay. Alright, I do not think try to grind it down. Is there anything that can be... No, this is all just tent and campers. Campsite in Edmonton. Do one more final search. Again, let's try to cut Mexico out just because we're just focusing on the U.S. today. Looks like that's the cheapest. Livingston, Texas. Let's try a new area. Nothing. What's this? I gotta stay in Havana, Georgia. Yes, there's no way. Let's try like West Texas or anything over here. Campsite. Wow. So anything. Campsite. Wow. Sorry. All right. Okay. Well, I think we found it. I don't think anything's gonna beat even the fact that it doesn't have like a stove. If you're getting it for 500 and change for a month, I think you can spend that money eating at Chipotle or buy a hot plate and put it in. So, all right. I think we found the cheapest Airbnb in the U.S. South. Hope you guys enjoyed the video and have a great rest of your day or week.